Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the All About Us podcast, Africa in Diaspora. Here we talk about Africans all over the world and indigenous populations. We talk about our culture, religion, beliefs, politics, world situations, and everything that's going on. But most of all, we try to connect and bring each other together. Today, I have a guest. He's a friend, hails from the country of Nigeria. He's a drummer, worked in a recording studio, has a charity, Run and Give, which is an affiliate charity of my organization, standupandDoSomething.org. He's a height safety instructor, teaches people how to rappel from high places. He's also a telemarketer with the British School of Marketing. I'd like to introduce everyone to Mr. Ifeanyl Erikposi. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing so good and very excited to be here with you, pal. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited that you're here too, because even though you are our second guest, actually, this is the first time I'm actually able to use all the equipment which was purchased for this podcast. During our very first show, we were having some technical difficulties because I didn't quite have everything I needed to use the equipment. So this is actually the first show that we're using the entire studio. The last recording was actually for the podcast. The previous podcast was done via Zoom. This time we're going to actually get to see and hear what this equipment does. So that's exciting for me. Since you're from Nigeria, there are a lot of misconceptions that the media presents concerning African countries and people of color just in general. So what I would like for you to talk about and maybe explain first are what are some of the things about your country, about Nigeria, nice things, beautiful things that we never hear about, that we don't know?
Okay, I love this question so much because it very disheartening whenever we Nigerians get to hear people talk about Nigeria out there in a negative light. So we understand the things happening in Nigeria, but despite the current state of Nigeria, there are still 1,001 reasons to be a proud Nigerian and why Nigeria is an amazing country. Nigerians are literally amazing and awesome. Nigeria it is the land of invention and investors. You come into Nigeria, you find out that despite every negative thing everybody's talking about Nigeria, every single day you go to the Nigerian international airports, foreigners trooping in to come check out the country, to come invest for tourist visit and stuff like that. And it will shock you because when you're out there, people say Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. But you come down in here and you find out that a whole lot of foreigners are coming in here because it's the land of opportunity. It's a land that has a whole lot of resources that people from far and near come in to utilize and invest in. Nigerians are very adaptable. They know how to survive in any condition they find themselves in. And this has helped push the entrepreneurial drive of many Nigerians over the decade. That is why you see people thriving in small businesses, trying to survive every single day. Nigeria even has a thriving tech scene where you see young tech gurus growing every day from like the suburb of Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and so many other states. And we have a very beautiful wildlife here. There are a whole lot of people, places you would want to visit. If you come to Lagos, you have the Lekki Conservation Center. If you go down to Cross River State, you have the Over the Cattle Ranch. It is high up on a hill where you can take a horse ride in the clouds because the clouds come down to ground level. We have lots of waterfalls. There's a whole lot of beautiful thing about Nigeria, especially our food. We have amazing food right here. And I'm sure you've heard of the Nigerian jollof rice. I don't know if you've tried it over there.
Not yet, but I know there's some type
You
of
need to give
fight
that a
going
try.
on because Nigeria says they have the best jollof rice, and then Ghana claims they have the best jollof rice. In a few months, I'm going to actually find out who has the best jollof rice. Actually,
I can tell you for free, Nigeria has the best.
okay, there are a couple things that I wanted to address. I think one of the most surprising things that I came to discover is that a large part of your population is actually young. I think I seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 65%, 65 to 70% of your population is age 22 or younger. And that was shocking to me. And the dynamic which that brought about to me is there are a lot of young people in a situation where they have to go out and survive at a very early age on their own. And I think that's an interesting dynamic. That's not something that is generally forced upon Americans here. Do you find that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is very correct.
And the other interesting,
Because
go ahead.
yeah, it's very interesting because, like I said at the beginning, the current state of Nigeria is one that has put us in that situationship where you find a whole lot of young people out there every morning trying to survive, looking for something to do, trying to get their hands on a job, trying to make sure that they can feed. Regardless of all of this, you still have a whole lot of young folks who are, apart from trying to survive, they're training themselves in school. They are trying to get their hands on something so they can help their family back home. So you find them every day going out there, working hard and making sure that they don't stay idle. And
Right.
that's very interesting.
And I think that is part of the negative narrative that the Western world actually sees because we really don't understand how difficult it is on a daily basis. It's not just in Nigeria. I find it in a number of other different countries. It's very hard to find a regular job. Like we go out and we get a job and we work for an employer and we go to work every day, Monday through Friday, from this time to that time. As long as we show up to work, we don't have to worry about our paychecks. The dynamics are just totally different in Africa. A lot of it's hard for people to find normal jobs there. So a lot of people are working for themselves or doing daily gigs or finding just trying to do something just for that day to get enough money to eat and to survive. Every day is a struggle to survive for a lot of people in your country.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. We have a situation where people look for job every day. And so if they realize that, or as they have realized that relying on the government to provide jobs for them might not be a good choice to make if they need to survive every day. So that is part of the things that has created the entrepreneurial spirit in these young youths in Nigeria. So instead of staying idle, they go out there to look for what they can do for that day. You find that hustle spirit in them, and they've been able to make out a whole good stuff for themselves. And from the daily businesses or work they tend to do, some of them tend to start up their own little business and then grow up from there.
And many times from what I hear, even if they have a regular job, you're supposed to get paid at the end of each month, but you find situations where they don't get paid at the end of the month. And sometimes they're working 2 or 3 months before they even see their next paycheck.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't happen a lot, but it's something that does occur. And that's something
Yes,
that
it's something that does for that very.
that's something that can break your spirit and force you to think maybe I should be doing something else. Early this year, Nigeria went through a number of different dynamics. The first one was this whole thing with removing all the currency because they were introducing a new currency. They pulled all the old currency off of the market, but didn't have enough of the new currency produced to hand out via the bank. So that created a problem. So state some of the dynamics and some of the problems caused because of that.
Okay, so the problems that caused is so disheartening that we only have a few information about that because we know that not a lot of the information about what it caused went into the news. And but we could see the hardship that caused because every single day people go out to hustle and they hustle what they eat for that day. And so if the currency on which they depend on is not available, that means even if they've worked for that day, they can't get paid that day. That is something that is so disheartening. And then like, one of the things that happened was a man who he works every day, hustles every day, work for people, million jobs and stuff like that, and gets paid, but couldn't get paid even if he had rendered that service. And he had a family, right? He had a family, but he would go to these roadside restaurants to go beg for food, promising the seller that anytime he gets hold of any amount he can get hold of, he would pay back. But the man has been giving and giving until he couldn't give again because if he continued giving like that, he would run out of business himself. And so one day this man came beg for food and he couldn't get it and he sat down by the door, just hoping that somebody would help and something like that. Now he was assumed to have slept off just in front of the door. And somebody came in and told the seller, who is that man sitting down there? And he said, oh, he's one of the people that usually comes to beg for food. But I can't give him today because he has been doing that a lot and I can run out of business. And the man was like, oh, go ahead, give him anything he wants. I will pay for it. And then the man gathered every single thing he could possibly gather and then went on to that man to hand it over to him, only to find out that the man is.
So basically, you're saying this Good Samaritan, he decided to go in and just grab a bunch of stuff to purchase for this man to eat. And when he took the food back out to him, the man was what?
The man was dead. He was already dead.
Wow.
And that came as a big shock to everybody. It just portrayed how bad things were. And the funny thing is that as much as the people on down the ladder were being affected, the rich too was affected because you need money to purchase things. You need cash to buy things. You need cash to do a whole lot of things. So they also had it hard on themselves as well. So everybody literally was affected. Businesses went down. So many businesses, literally gave up to a large extent. But with the surviving spirit that Nigerians have, which is very common with us, and they were able to scale through till that moment was over. But it really affected a whole lot of people in a negative way.
One of the things that I heard was that a lot of people actually in Nigeria, they've switched over and they're into this electronic banking. a lot of they access their bank accounts via their phones, but there were still things that you needed cash for. You needed bills for each and every day. And I guess you have these, I forget what they call them there, where you go and you transfer the money to these individuals and they actually give you cash, but they were charging like sometimes 10 or 20% interest on just you getting access to your own money. Is that correct?
Yes, that is very correct. And that is one of the things that made that situation so bad. So I'll give you an example. Let's say
I
you
think they
want to
call
go
them,
withdraw
do they call
the
them
POS.
POS? Yeah.
Yes, POS. So just imagine you want to go withdraw $1,000, right? Cash. And this POS agent is charging you $500 for you to get your $1,000 cash.
So it's $1,500 total. Yes, I heard some of the things. It was very outrageous. And then in the midst of that while that was going on, there was a fuel shortage.
Yes, that's true.
And so you had
Now,
a combination of not having access to cash, then having to pay interest from the POS just to get access to your money. And then on top of that, now you have a fuel shortage. So now you can't really get or access fuel, or there are long queues to get fuel. And now, I believe it was July, the new president came in and removed the fuel subsidy. So now your fuel cost has increased 400 to 500%. And a lot of people don't understand how that affects everything in your economy. Literally everything doubles and triples.
it is so disheartening how we move, how we thought that problem was just the problem.
Yes, I can imagine you're going through the things from earlier in the year with the currency being removed and then having to pay interest just to access your own money from the POS. Then on top of it, now you have this entire fuel subsidy thing, and it has just driven up the cost for everything. Would you mind explaining how this affects transportation, food, everything, and what is the impact that this is actually having on Nigeria as a whole?
Looking at the fact that we use fuel for almost everything in Nigeria, electricity, transportation, so many engines run on fuel. The fuel subsidy removal taking the fuel price from 185 naira to 700 naira literally affect everything, because now the transporters are now buying fuel almost 5 times the initial price. And so if to transport a particular food item or food crop from the farm or to a factory or whatever, usually cost about, let's say, 100,000 naira. Farmers would have to pay the transporter as much as 500 to 600,000 naira move that good. Now, they will have to, the people buying from the farmers would have to put extra percentage on each item to sell to the people. So everybody is buying things almost 3 times, 4 times the initial price they usually get it. And now this has affected a whole lot of people who that were surviving on daily bread that they can get. We have some bread that we can buy for 100 naira, 150 naira. They've gone up to 400 naira, 500 naira. So every single thing from transportation to, to buying of food to services rendered, every single thing is affected. If somebody's going to work from point A to point B just to render a service, and the person was spending, let's say, 200 naira just to get to you, and the person is spending as much as 800 naira to get to you, you know that if you were paying the person 3,000 naira for that service, the person will be charging you as much as 12,000 naira for that service.
That's incredible.
So it literally affected every single area of the economy.
So it's almost like what you're saying is just to survive, basically, survival has gone up threefold or 300%.
It has skyrocketed.
That
The
there,
highest that we've ever seen.
that's incredible. So in a country where people were already struggling to survive, they've actually made it 3 times harder to survive, at least.
Yeah, 3 times. Now a dollar to Nigerian naira is 1,025 naira
That's
for $1.
that's incredible.
That's high.
That's incredible. So what do you see as the future for all of this? Or are people becoming disheartened about this? How are they mentally dealing with and handling this?
People were hoping that the government would have compassion on how things are going with them and do much better. But it seems like the decisions that they're taking that have put the country in this state, they want to stick by it. But one thing with Nigeria or Nigerians is that something like this would happen and it would change the course of things. People would suffer for some time, but they would always readjust. They will readjust and try to survive within that period of time as long as that situation lasts for. It definitely would affect a whole lot of people and even everybody in certain way. But they tend to readjust themselves, but also never lose hope. Everybody just has to face their business and just keep on readjusting themselves to what is happening, hoping that one day we would have a government that will be passionate enough or have enough compassion as to take certain decisions, not just 100%, just like for the fuel subsidy, certain economic strategies are saying that it's actually not a bad thing for the economy, but the approach through which it was being removed is what affected the economy so bad.
Yes, it's
Just imagine that. Exactly. So just imagine that it was just 10% of the subsidy that was removed. The effect will not be as much as this.
They should have removed the subsidy, made over a 2-year period, 25% every 6 months.
Even 2 years period.
That would have
4 years period.
Yeah, that would have,
because there's a whole lot of food to put on the ground.
That would have, a gradual removal of that subsidy would have been better. And see, this creates this never-ending cycle which projects this negative image. And this is what I mean. You have all people who are already struggling to survive. Now you make it 3 times more difficult for them to survive. And then now they have to go even further and do all types of other different things now just to survive. So you're talking about maybe lying so you could get this for this day, or maybe trying to do something else that you really don't feel like doing so that you can get here to get some work. It just creates a never-ending cycle. And what we hear about is a lot of the negative, but we don't hear about the situations and circumstances which are driving people to sometimes do things that they really don't want to do.
Now, that's very true. That's very true. Because of the way things are going, you have high rise in
all types of crime, everything.
Crime, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, that you never imagined would happen will just start happening because people are just trying to survive. That's basically what you would notice at the end of the day. And the truth is that if things get better, you'll be shocked to see that some things that look normal now, but which are bad, would stop immediately because people have better means of survival or
Correct.
a better choice to make.
And that's another thing which is disheartening. We have all types of things going on in the world. And of course, everybody is hearing the tragedy that's going on, that happened in Israel. And, now what's happening with Hamas and the Palestinians because of the attack on Israel. That becomes world news. That becomes world news. And it should be world news. But guess what? Over the past 2 years, there's no less than 10 wars in Africa. 10 wars in Africa, ongoing right now, that you have some of the same things going on. People being murdered, people being slaughtered, people being driven from their homes into other countries, and you hear nothing about it. You hear nothing about it at all. And it's very discouraging how when something happens in the quote unquote white world, it's put up front, it's major news, and it gets everyone's attention. But when something like these things occur in African countries, they get overlooked. They may be spoken about for a day or two, but it's like they're totally ignored. How do you feel about that?
It's not a good feeling because a whole lot of things are happening in Africa. A whole lot. In fact, unbelievable things. It just shows you how they placed Africa in a corner. If something happens elsewhere, it's world news. It is pray for this place, pray for that place, put them in your prayer. They need your support. But then within Africa, it's not heard of. It's the importance or importance is not placed on Africa or on whatever is really happening in Africa. Just like the situations that happen in Nigeria, we have a lot of things happening based on insecurity and some certain aspects of the Boko Haram and the rest happening in the north
Correct.
that is not being publicized at all. It's just taken on a very low level, no importance placed on it at all. But then something just happens somewhere outside the shores of Africa, it becomes world news. It becomes pray for Italy, pray for Israel, pray for France. But Africa is left on her own. It's not good. It's not a good feeling.
And over time, my thinking and my ideology has changed because now the dynamic that I'm seeing is they place African nations in a position where they can exploit these African nations. And this is what I mean by that. You promote all the bad things about African nations. They don't have the social services for their population, their people. They don't have a 24-hour a day electricity. They don't have this. They don't have this. This is wrong there. That's wrong there. But guess what? Just as you say, people flying in there from everywhere else in the world on a regular basis. Why? They keep people out of the know. They keep everybody else away so that they can come into these African nations and plunder these African nations. Because just as you stated, there are opportunities in land, resources, and businesses there. And guess what? They want to keep everyone else away because these African nations, believe it or not, are the new center of wealth. This is where everybody else intends to make their next multi-millions or billions at. So they're trying to keep the rest of the world away. How do you think? What do you think about that?
What you said is the absolute truth. Like I said when I started, You hear negative things about Africa, but get into their international efforts, business coming in. They're pouring in thousands, a whole lot of companies coming in because we have the resources that just like you come into Nigeria, there's literally almost no natural resources you would not find here. Almost everything that you can ever imagine, we have it in our soil, we have it here. And so they send out negative news out to the world. And that's why if you go ask, you walk in the street of Europe, you just ask them, especially for the ones that have never been to Africa, what do you think about Africa? And what comes to their mind is somebody hanging on a tree or somebody that is wicked or somebody that's underdeveloped and stuff like that. But when they finally visit Africa, they're like, wow, this is a beautiful place. You understand? And then they get to meet the people and see that they're very welcoming, very, very welcoming and high hospitality here. Everybody's friendly and stuff like that. They get to see us for who we really are and not what the media is saying about Africa. So a whole lot of negative things have been seen. Yeah, that's true, but that is not the truth. Truth about Africa is that we are endowed, we are really blessed. A whole lot of things are right here for people to come and invest in. We have resources that you cannot find on any other continent right here in Africa. And that's fact.
It's just sad. It's sad. There has to be a level of fairness. Once we start treating all these neighboring countries fairly, then a lot of the dynamics will change. And this is what I am hoping to do with this podcast, is get the word out and help to promote some change on an international level and make people aware about some of the struggles, the politics, and just the things that are going on with Africa. We have 65% of the population under the age of 22 or under. But then you have people running the government who are 75 and 80 years old. For one, they're already rich.
That's something that is amazing.
They're already rich.
Not rich. Not rich, wealthy.
Wealthy, extremely wealthy. So your wealth removes you from the everyday person. But then it's very difficult for someone who is 75, 80 years old, and you're wealthy to view, decipher, and implement things that are going to benefit the 17, 18, 19-year-old man or woman in Nigeria that doesn't have anything. They can't even mentally rationalize where you're at and what you have to go through. So there's
a song when you say, we are the leaders of tomorrow. That was when we were young children. And then we grow up to become adult or older adults. And we still see the leaders we saw when we were kids. They are still the leaders of today in our tomorrow.
The leaders of today in your tomorrow. That's deep. That's deep. Still the leaders of today in your tomorrow. And see, that's where the change has to start occurring. That's where the change has to start occurring. And that's where Nigerians need to try to break the corruption in the voting and in your political elections, because that's where the change is going to come from, getting individuals in these offices, in the Senate, in the cabinet, in the position of president, who understands the struggles in the world of the youth. So I'm going to digress a moment and I'm going to move on to talking about us. I believe we've had a friendship now that's spanning probably 4 years, I believe. I met you through a sister, my ex fiance's sister, and she introduced you. I was having some things that I needed to talk about with from a man in your culture so I could understand some things. And she introduced me to you, and that's how our friendship started. But it was strange because at that time, I didn't have my nonprofit. I didn't have Stand Up and Do Something. And I don't believe you had currently started your charity. So tell us a little bit about your charity, the name of your charity, how all of that came about, and what inspired you to do what you're doing, because the direction and the approach that you've taken with it is something that I've never seen done before. So introduce your charity in the background concerning your charity.
Okay, so let me go back to where it all started from. My first time going to the north in Nigeria was in 2018, and I went on an official duty to train a company called Lafarge Cement with regards to height safety. I went there as a young professional, but I saw a whole lot of old professionals from different countries, and I was so nervous. I was like, what am I going to teach these guys? They're already 20 years, 30 years ahead of me, and all of that. I had this little running of nose. I needed to go treat it at the medical center. And when I went there, they did the medical checkup and everything. I was all okay, but my BP was high. My blood pressure was high, and the doctor was like, "Young man, what's wrong with you? Why do you have high BP? Are you married?" I said, "No." "Do you have a girlfriend?" I said, "No." "What's your problem? What are you thinking about? What is making you worry so much that is making your BP high?" And he was like, "Do you exercise?" I said, "Yeah, a little." He said, "Okay, what kind of exercise?" "I can do push-ups." He said, "How many push-ups?" And I say, "I can try 10." Said, "Okay, you go back home, you try 20 push-ups, and you come back tomorrow, and we check your BP." I said, "Is that all?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay." So I went back home, did 2 sets of 10, 10 reps each. And that's the morning before I went to site. Got to site, I went in for medical checkup again. They checked my BP. It had dropped a little bit. And he was like, "Okay, increase it to 50, and we will check your BP again." And I did that, came back the next day, and it had dropped significantly, and it was normal. And he told me something that I held till there. He said, "Mr. Ifeanyl, you have two options now. Either you are being given this medication, which you would have to take almost every day of your life to keep your BP stable, or you exercise to keep it stable." And as a Nigerian guy, I was like, "Oh, so there's exercise and there's medicine." He would exercise, and that's the best option that I have here. So it exercise for me. And when I left that place that day, I kept on exercising, came back to Lagos State, I kept on exercising, and just made exercise a lifestyle. It now happened that we went down into 2020 during the coronavirus era, where we had to shut down from work for several months. And so I stopped exercising inside the house. I would go downstairs in the compound and exercise. And people would join me from the compound and from the street. And then the compound was now becoming very small to contain us. And I said, "Okay, let's skip the street. Let's go for jogging. Let's go to the National Stadium, and let's just take it out of here." And then we started jogging almost every day, but constantly every weekend, like on Saturday. I will go out with a team of from 10 to 15 persons, and we will jog out to the National Stadium, do some little exercises, and then come back. But one thing that was always happening when we go out early in the morning is you would find beggars in the street and on the roadside, stretching their arms and begging for help. And most times you want to jog, you want to go for jogging without holding anything. You just want your hands to, and nothing in your pocket. You just go out. The only thing probably you would hold is bottle of water and your phone. And I would always tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not with anything. I can't help you. But it kept happening. Some days we would give to them if we have any passion, or some days we would not give. So one day I told my team, I was like, why not we look for a day and intentionally have something with us so that when we jog past these guys, we can give them something. And so what we now did was we carried out a survey to see what are the things that they usually eat early in the morning. So we see them taking tea and bread, some people fruits, and so we donuts or egg roll and stuff like that. So when we did that research, we were like, okay, so let's put something together. Get some donuts, some egg rolls, some fruits and stuff like that, and put them in packs. And so that one of the mornings we're going out for jogging, we will be running and giving to them. So people were like, okay, that's cool. So I was like, okay, so what name should we give to this particular project? And I was like, this is simple, run and give. We run and we give. That's how the name came about.
Wow, amazing, an amazing story. It's an amazing story.
And we started 1st of October 2020 to celebrate Nigeria's 60th independence. And we stepped out to the streets of Lagos with those. We had about 25 to 26 packs, I think 25 packs thereabout. And everybody held something. We held something in our hand. And so when we run, we go to a particular beggar, everybody will gather around the person, we will introduce ourselves, and we will hand over that pack to the person, and then we keep running. And so that's how we've been going about it. In fact, that particular day, the reason why we're still doing this now is that we had a very, very memorable event. It was quite an emotional one. So I would not forget when we went under one of the popular bridges here in Lagos called Ojuelegba Bridge. I found a man lying down under that bridge. He looked lifeless with his clothes torn and stuff like that. You would think he has, we call them madmen, someone who was born insane.
Correct.
Or someone like a psychiatric patient. I asked the traffic policewoman I saw under the bridge, I just approached her and I asked her, is that man okay? Is he alive or is he dead? She was like, why are you asking? I said, oh, my team and I will have something for him, food and stuff. And she was like, oh, nothing is wrong with him. Just go to him, tap him up, and give him whatsoever thing you have. And so I told my team, guys, let's go. They were like, no, you go ahead. We will stand there and watch so that in case he is insane and he runs after you, we will be ahead of. And you know how you tiptoe? I just quietly walked up to him, tapped him from the end of his leg to be sure that, okay, if anything happens, I have enough space to run. And so I tapped him and I saw him look at me and I was like, hello, sir, good morning. I have something to give to you. Can you sit up, please? And he opened his eyes, looked around to be sure he's dead. Then he sat up. And then I had to squat down and then I introduced myself and what I was all about. And then I have some good stuff from him. And so I went to my team and I told them, guys, it is safe, come over. That was when they ran down to me and we brought the food pack and we gave to him. So, and I asked him, what's your name? I can remember him. He told me my name is Peter. He was good English and all of that. And I was like, you're under the bridge. He said, you know how things are in the country, life happens to him, he lost everything, and so he sleeps under bridges and stuff like that. It really touched my heart and everything in that there. And I had to ask them to give him about 2 packs because one was not enough. Before I even said everything I had to say, he already finished everything in 1 pack.
Wow.
Because it just shows that, he could have not have eaten anything for maybe days. You understand? That's why he looked lifeless. He couldn't walk. He was just sitting down there. And so I told my team that we have to do this again. We really have to because we've seen the lives that were blessed already just by giving them this little parts of food. That could be the only thing they would have to eat for that day or for the days ahead. So we've been able to give them hope, at least strength to carry on for the next days until they can find their next food. So I was like, guys, we need to continue doing this as much as God blesses us. We will take out of the little we have, contribute, gather it up together, get into the market, get some stocks, and then hit the street of Lagos and give to them. But also, one thing that I also doing is that we are also exercising our body, and that's where the running comes in. We're not just giving back to humanity, we're also giving back to ourselves good health and fitness. And that's the beauty about what we do. So we exercise our body, and that's where we came about building your giving muscles, where we build our body muscles, and then we also build our giving muscles because we see giving as a muscle that you cannot build without giving.
Well, that's one of
You
the
must
things.
practice the act of giving.
That's one of the things that most of us don't realize. God gave us an incredible machine in our bodies. And that if we treat our bodies correctly by eating the right things and exercising, we don't have a lot of the problems that, or don't face many of the problems that you see a lot of people dealing with health-wise. The major contributor to a lot of health problems, people eating and eating the wrong things, and then sitting down and not doing any exercise, gaining all that weight, high blood pressure, diabetes, just a number of different conditions come out of people sitting around, living a sedentary lifestyle, eating and not doing any exercise at all.
That's very true, Carl. And what people don't realize is if you don't have good health, you can't even give. For you to go out to give to the next person, you need to move. You need to be able to move. You need to be in good health and have a sound mind. Because if you're sick, you're going to be home. You can't even go out there and say you want to help the next person. The first step to helping the next person is by helping yourself staying healthy.
So
by staying healthy, you can help the next person.
You started your charity, Run and Give, in 2020, October 2020, and that was right around the time that I actually got my license for my corporation for standupandosomething.org. So we basically started our charities in different countries. We knew each other, but neither one of us talked about what we were doing, and we just landed in the same basket and find out, oh, we're both doing charities. So tell me, how many events have you done in the past up until now? How many charity events have you done? Official events, not your normal exercising and just giving, but actually events that you actually advertised and went to specific locations to bless a school, a community, a church, or whatever. How many of these events have you done up to now?
So far so good. From the 1st of October to up to now, we've done successfully 9 events, 9 editions of this event. We've done up to 15, of these events, but 9 out of them are major ones that we advertised. We went to specific locations after planning just to bless the lives of these people. And funny enough, when we started off October 2020, did the first one and saw that it was very productive. The lives were blessed. It was just glaringly obvious that we need to do another one. And so we decided that we would look at the seasons, just like Christmas season, Easter season, Children's Day, all of that, and Nigerian Independence Day. I mean, each of these days, just look for a particular community or school or an area in the street and just go out there and bless their life. So we've done 9 editions, successful editions so far.
Okay.
And it just kept getting bigger and bigger every day.
Now, I believe this next event that you're doing the end of October is the biggest event that you've planned so far. So I'd like for you to explain exactly what you're doing, where you're doing, and how much assistance that you need to pull this off in a little over 2 weeks, and where and how do my listeners assist you in this. But explain what you're doing in this next event, please.
Okay, so our 10th edition, which is coming up on the 28th of October. Before I even go into this, first of all, October is very eventful for us because about 6 days or 5 days from now is my birthday. No,
Happy
4 days from
birthday.
now is my birthday. Yeah, on the 18th is my birthday. And a whole lot of friends have been asking me, when are you your birthday? I said, no, your whole focus is on the 28th. All the resources, everything is going on the 28th. And 18th is my birthday. 22nd, we will be going to receive our award, which I'm sure we'll talk about much later.
Mhm.
And then 28th is our project day. So it's quite an eventful month for me and for my team. So on the 28th, I want to go. It happened that somebody reached out to me. So I usually have some of the Lagos State beauty queens attend our event. So one of the queens wanted to do her birthday, and she reached out and said she would love to just celebrate her birthday with so destitute kids and stuff like that. So I told her, oh, no wahala, we have a place I can take you to. So I took her to one of the places that we usually visit, went to, but I haven't really explored the place really well. And this particular day, I went there before she arrived with her team and just to let them know somebody's coming in to celebrate with the kids. And so they took me to a particular session where these kids have a classroom where they learn. And so immediately I went in, the kids, they greeted, and then their teacher started telling them to read the two times table and stuff like that. And I looked at them and I was like, wow, this is a classroom where the kids are sitting down on the ground. They don't have a whiteboard. The fans are barely turning. Windows are out. Classroom not painted. There's no desk, no table, no writing material. They were learning oral method of teaching. Teacher would teach them A for apple, they respond APLE apple, and they would spell it alongside. They would just learn it. It was just something all about this oral form of learning that was going on there. And I got to know that it is the children of the blind people, the deaf, the dumb, the ones suffering from leprosy and stuff. These are their kids. I was like, wow.
Incredible.
And looking closely at them, I could see some of them, their legs twisted, their eyes at a different angle and stuff like that. And it touched me so much. And because we've been doing a whole lot of this giving out food, clothes, shoes, and stuff, we've never done anything from the educational angle. And so I asked him, it's obvious that you guys need something. You need writing materials for these kids. You need chairs and tables, and you need these classrooms to be painted. It's very obvious. And he said, yes, that to really help the kids because it's very hard for them to learn sitting down on the ground in an uncomfortable position. Carl, I can tell you that they're not just sitting on the ground, but they are lapping themselves. One child sitting on another child, like a smaller child sitting on a bigger child, and that kind of stuff. And because there's not enough space, and there are about like 200 of them
Wow.
per classroom,
Wow.
they are trying to learn in a very soft classroom, not well ventilated, no light, and but you would see the excitement, the energy, you would feel it right with the board. And I was like, aha, this is our next project. And I told the guy, I said, okay, get me a list of what you need this classroom, and I'm going to work with my team and advertise this, speak to people, and see how we can raise funds and come back here to fix this classroom and provide the handwriting materials, coloring books, whiteboard, chairs, and tables that you guys need. I just wanted to be able to help them get that place running like a normal classroom.
Okay.
And where the class is very conducive, it will help those kids to learn much better. And so that's how the vision for this 10th edition started. And we decided, I spoke with my team and everybody was excited. And I took a whole lot of pictures so they can understand the height of how things are very bad with both kids there. And we've been working for the past 3 months to raise funds. Because what we actually want to give to these kids I just knew that we might not be able to give to all 200 and above kids. And so we had to just come down to budget for 100 kids. So what we want to do for this next project is to equip and empower 100 destitute kids with a full school kit.
Okay.
And this school kit includes a school bag, because we don't just want to give them some books and writing material. They need a bag to put them inside so that they can protect it, it can be safe and not get caught easily. And so we're giving them a school bag, we're giving them handwriting books, we're giving them coloring books, we're giving them crayons, pencils, erasers, every single thing that a child will require to learn that should be inside a school bag. That is what we want to give them. At least a minimum of 100.
Okay. And so
we're able to have more fun to reach out to 200 of them, then we would be able to do that.
I believe you stated to me that the budget that you were looking at a few months ago was sitting at right around $1,000 to do this.
Yeah, $1,200.
Well, about $1,200 to do this.
Apart from giving them the school kit, we also want to get them chairs and tables to sit down and write.
Correct.
Because if they sit down on the ground, they'll develop back pain. They'll be bending their head at an angle that is not healthy. Right. And then we also want to paint the classroom in and out. You remember the pictures I sent to you?
Correct.
We need to paint in and outside the classroom, then fix their windows, put mosquito nets for them so that they can be safe and healthy, and then fix the fans. Once we can do this, we will be able to make that place conducive, as well as get them a whiteboard with markers.
Okay, but that $1,200, that's just to equip 100 students with
that's just
the supplies. When you're actually telling me there's 200 students.
Yeah, very true. It's about 200.
Okay. And I'm reaching out to all the listeners. You don't know me. My show is new. But here we have a man who is trying to do something for the children of people who are destitute. Their parents have major health issues and or outcasts in their society. Their parents can't afford for their children to go to a normal school. So here we have an individual, I don't know the man or the woman, but this person has opened a school to the destitute, that their children can come and try to learn. And I'm just asking everybody out there who hears this, if they can give something. I don't care if it's $1. Can you give something? He's looking for $1,200. I'm hoping we can get $2,000, $2,500. That's what I'm hoping, so that we don't help some kids and not others. So, Ifeanyl, tell everyone where they can go online to donate and send money for this cause, please.
Okay, so we have our website, we have our Facebook page, but you can easily reach us through our Facebook page. I mean, it's connected to our WhatsApp number and our mobile phones and stuff like that.
Here in the United States, WhatsApp isn't as popular as it is overseas, but your foundation is called Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation.
Okay, so why don't you spell that for the listeners and actually give them a website they can go to? Now, I'm also going to state before he goes into it, let me digress a little bit. If you go to my website, it's called standupandosomething.org. It's all one word, STANDUPNSOMETHING.org. Stand up and do something, and the and is the letter N. Stand up and do something.org. If you go to the Who We Support page on my website, you will see Run and Give. That's a link, and you're giving money directly to his organization, to what he's doing now. So that you can go to my website and donate. Also have it on the a link. I have a link to my website on the All About Us Facebook page, and I will try to get another link up on my YouTube channel. I think with the YouTube channel, I have to do an actual crowdfunding, and it has to be an official crowdfunding site, which you don't have access to in Africa. So I will be getting with you in a day or two where people can go to the YouTube and hit the link for one of the two big crowdfunding sites and donate also. But give us your direct information right now.
Okay, so you want to reach us out, you can get on our Facebook page, Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation.
Spell
We
that
have
for
both the
them.
Facebook group and the Facebook. So the Ifeanyl is spelled Ifeany. I said that again. Ifeany. That's Ifeanyl, the Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation. Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation. That's our Facebook page. We have the link to our website right there on that page. You can click, and when you get on that page, you want to donate or reach out to us, it will direct you to our either mobile or our email address. We also have our email address, Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation at gmail.com. Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation at gmail.com. So when you get on there, you would see we would be able to share with you our payment details and everything that you can possibly reach us and donate to us. And it's very easy for you to reach out to us if you come on our Facebook page and just drop a message or drop a comment, and we will respond immediately.
I would like to add that you will be able to see where your money is going. I mean, he broadcasts these events live. You can watch them on Facebook Live. He also always posts numerous pictures. They take tons of pictures of these events. So this isn't something that you're going to send and give money and not see where your money went or the immediate results of it.
Carl, with regards to what you just said right now, we have all the videos from the first edition to the 9th edition. It's right there on our page. So in case they want to verify that all the editions are posted there. And they will also have a 1-minute video that has all 9 editions during in that 1-minute video. It's right there. So we always ensure that we put everything out there so people can see where their money going to. We literally go to these places in person and as a team and take all the resources we've gathered to bless the lives of these people. It's all out there.
Okay, Ifeanyl, let me ask you a question and be honest. How close are you to your goal of $1,200?
Okay, so we have just been able to raise, with regards, let me not say 50%, because the 50% I'm talking about now is we're able to raise money for the bags, just the school bags alone.
Okay.
Just the school bags alone. We still need to get the books and pen and all of those. So we've only been able to get about 30% of what we're looking at. Just 30% of what we're looking at.
Okay.
And we really need to get more support and so that we can actually achieve what we want to achieve.
Okay. This is what I am going to do. What day is the 28th? That's a Saturday?
On the 28th, it's on Saturday.
Okay, the 28th is on a Saturday. I am going to want to do a special edition with you. I want people to donate now, but I want to bring you back on that Wednesday. And I want to bring you back online with a few of your people. And we're going to do another broadcast like we're doing right now, but we're going to do it with some of your people present. And we're going to do a final push to help you get to this goal. So yes, we're sitting here talking now. I want you to bring some of your people back the next time, and we're going to schedule that for Wednesday, the 25th, to bring some of you guys back. They can talk about their experiences they've had assisting you in the Running Give project, and we could see where you're at and hopefully get a final push to make sure that you have all the funds you need for this charity event. I'm very happy to be a part of this, to have you as an affiliate organization to our charity. And before we close, you won some type of award. So I would like for you to explain what this award is. And I believe the award ceremony, which you have to attend, is the day after your event.
Yes, this is very true, Carl. And just after the 9th edition, I think about 2 months after the 9th edition, I was called and told that my organization was nominated for an award. And I was like, oh, really? But I never remember applying for this. And I was told that somebody nominated us and submitted the video of the 9th edition that we did. And I was like, wow. And I said, okay. And I was told that after screening all the submissions from all the humanitarian activities that was submitted, that ours were nominated for the Humanitarian and Philanthropist Organization of the Year award.
Wow.
As
Amazing.
the winner. And I was like, wow. I said, okay, what were they looking at? On what grounds did we win this award? And they said something significant. Carl, remember you asked me after the 9th edition, you were like, why didn't you shift that event knowing that it was going to rain? Why did you have to go under the rain?
I did
Remember?
because I was watching it live and I seen the rain coming down, and I'm like, you possibly can't do this event in this type of weather. And I was concerned because we also support him. It's an affiliate organization of ours. But he said something that was instrumental to me, and it really empowered me. He says, the show must go on.
Yeah, that's amazing, Carl. And so they told me that when they watched the video, they saw everybody wet. We were under the rain. We went to not just an orphanage home, but to the creek. There's a community called Makoko community, and this community on water. And so we took the whole team, we ran, we went there, and we had to book up to 7 canoes. 7 canoes so that all the team members can cross the water to a particular school that is in the middle of that community.
Now, he said 7 canoes. If you go and see if you go and see the video, you will see that in order to get to this location to service these people, because their village is like out on the water on stilts, you have to ride in canoes on the water to get to these people. Now, I also want you to understand, they did this after they had ran in the rain to one location and already distributed supplies at one location. And in the weather now, in the rain, you're going to get into wet canoes to go to another location.
Exactly.
So I just want to give the
And
audience the imagery of this. And I was totally shocked. I was totally blown away at how far they go to make these events happening. The event isn't going to be canceled. It isn't going to be rescheduled. Ifeanyl makes sure that the event happens that day and the time it's supposed to. Please continue. I'm sorry.
all right, Carl, regardless of running in the rain, when we got to the market area where we have to get into these canoes, we encountered area boys. There's some street boys. Our street boys here are called area boys. And these area boys are on a different level. They are cultists, they are bad boys in the area and all of that. And they will always come out when they see people doing stuff like that just so that they can get money.
They're the equivalent. They're
And
the equivalent of street gangsters, basically.
exactly, that's the word of gangster. And if you do not settle them, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. And so we had to pay them a huge sum of money just so that they can be cool and calm. And whenever you do stuff like that, they'll get cool with you and even assist you to do what you're doing. And so to make sure that everybody was safe, we had to pay them a certain, and they come in different groups, not just one group. They come in different groups. At every point of entry, you meet them. You just have to settle them, and before you can go ahead. And so then we booked the canoes, we got on the water, and then we went into this community. And so these guys told me they watched the video and they found out that we went out there, we shared food to them, we shared clothes to them. There was even an event where you would see children without clothes. They come in naked, swim, they jump into the water, from their homes, they jump into the water, swim down to the school, and then get on the platform to get clothes. And then they jump back into the water, swim back to their house. And there was a back and forth movement. So they watch all of this and they said, no, these guys, they've gone beyond themselves to ensure that the children in this creek enjoy and are being celebrated on Children's Day, specifically because it's Children's Day. We wanted them to feel valued, we wanted them to feel loved, and we went all out for them that day.
Correct. That event was held on Children's Day.
That we won that award.
That event was held on Children's Day in Nigeria of 2020.
Yeah, May 27th.
So it's imperative. I want my listeners out here, if you can do anything at all. Once again, this is Run and Give. This is going to be the 10th edition of Run and Give. It's going on October 28th of 2023. Ifeanyl Energy.
We're celebrating our third anniversary.
Yep. Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation on Facebook. Spell that first name again for everyone, please.
Okay. Ifeanyl. Okay. Once again, Ifeanyl.
And so this is a
Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation.
Yep. This is a great way to give and to see your money immediately work. And you will immediately see the benefit that your dollars, your cents are doing and contributing to the needy and underprivileged. Once again, you can go to Ifeanyl Energy Hub Foundation, his Facebook page. You can also come to my website, standupandosomething.org, and you can donate via the Who We Support page. You can also donate directly via the podcast when it asks you to support this organization, this podcast, All About Us. What you can also do is you can put a little note and say Run and Give, and we will know that money goes to this event. Ifeanyl, I thank you for coming here today. I thank you for being a part of our organization. I thank you for sharing your story with us. And we hope to have you and some of your people back here on October 25th. Do you think that's going to work for you?
That's going to work perfect.
So we are going to bring you back on October 25th, and we're going to see how close you are to your goal. So I thank you today for being here. I thank all of our listeners for tuning in, and I will see you all next week. Thank you, everyone.